What does it take to build a real online identity when your face is not the brand, but your energy is? Today on 8 Bits and Dice Rolls podcast, we're sitting down with VTuber and Twitch creator Shade Alucard to talk about what it really means to stream, build a community, and create chaos on purpose. We're getting into the creator behind the avatar, the highs, the lows, and the live content, the weirdness, the pressure, the funniest moments, and what it takes to keep showing up when the camera turns on and the audience is waiting. If you ever wondered what it makes a VTuber connect with people, or what it's like to try building something real in the streaming world, this is going to be one for you. And let's also welcome Shade Alucard to the show. Shade, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here.
So just kind of starting off, for people that don't know who Shade Alucard is, break it down. Tell us about yourself.
Well, as you could tell, I'm just a ball of chaotic energy, and just right now it's just I love the game. I tend to play primarily FPSs, and I tend to play sometimes MMOs, sometimes survival games, stuff like that. I'm just variety. I like to basically show what I like to do to my community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you described chaotic. What does that mean in the world of streamer? Like, what does that mean for you?
That anything and everything can happen and is possible. So, like, for example, I could just be minding my own business, fighting some zombies in a zombie survival game, and all of a sudden I get hit with something that just is totally out of the blue, out of the ordinary for the game.
Okay.
And it kind of steamrolls from there.
Okay. So what exactly pulled you into doing VTubing versus being on the camera?
Well, so believe it or not, I actually started as a face streamer. I actually did do a lot of on-camera things before I joined the world of VTubing. And really the biggest thing is that I can be a little bit more expressive. Obviously not right now because, you know, I'm not at full power yet. But the idea is that I could be a lot more expressive and be more myself, representing what I believe I can.
Okay. So I guess what got you as the ball of energy?
So what I am going to eventually become is I am an avatar of chaos. I build energy, I build strength and energy based on how many members of my community I can bring in. So if you are also a chaotic individual, I will become stronger you come into my community, and eventually I'll be able to become a humanoid that is able to walk amongst you guys and be more of a familiar friend type entity to everybody.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So do you have kind of like a final form, like idea already built up?
Yeah. So essentially, I actually technically have two forms. There is another form of myself, which is kind of a running joke. I'll get to that later.
Okay.
But the final form factor is going to be basically a male humanoid, obviously. I am a male. So male humanoid. It's almost going to have like a sub-theme of galaxy style way of things, because there's going to be a lot of, you know, star-like items and stuff like that. But the main idea is to basically be able to have a humanoid form that can also morph into different things. That's kind of the idea that I wanted to go off of, because, you know, chaotic. You never know what you're going to get hit with.
Yep, that is true. That is very true. Yeah, and I know in the world of VTubers, there's all kinds of different styles of avatars and all those kind of things. Do you remember your first stream? And like, how different is that from then versus now?
So my very first stream, it was actually a PlayStation stream. So
Really?
before
Okay.
I had the model. So before I even had this model, but when I first started, I streamed Dark Souls 3, actually, the day it came out.
Oof, brutal.
And I started actually on YouTube. It wasn't even Twitch, because Twitch had just started. It wasn't even around that long.
Okay.
But it was fun. I think I only had 2 people watching at that time, which is funny because I think one of them was my fiance, who I'm actually going to be getting married to here soon. Okay.
Congratulations.
And then it was a good friend of mine. So it was a very rough start. Now, if we're going to go off of the VTuber side of it, my very first VTuber stream was literally the day after I did my 12-hour streamathon for Halloween. I had a survivalist PNG tuber, which actually represented a little bit closer to what I actually look like in real life. And you can still see that avatar because on my main page, because he is my intro video. But that stream, I had a lot more of a following. I had a lot more of a community, and I streamed, I do believe, the forest that day, and I just had fun. I was enjoying it. The model was beautiful. Everything went off without a hitch. It was awesome. One of the best streams, actually, I think I've done.
Okay, well, that's really cool. What was the moment that you basically just stopped thinking it was just an idea and just decided, hey, this is exactly what I wanted?
So it did start after I made my first model, because obviously I was nervous. It was the very first time I was going into the VTubing scene. Even as a PNG tuber, it's nerve-wracking. You never know how well the community is going to receive the model. You're never sure if the model's going to, have any hiccups or anything like that. You kind of got to trust. You've kind of got to trust that your artist did really well with your art. And that if you do have somebody who rigged your model, that the rigging went really well. So after about 2 weeks after I got the PNG model, I think that's when I finally decided, hey, I think this is what I'm going to do. And I've enjoyed it ever since then. Now, yes, I have stopped because, burnout's a thing, and I don't want to experience that. So, but since then, yeah, about 2 weeks after my first model.
Okay, very cool. What was harder about becoming a VTuber than people on the outside probably realize?
Boy,
other than obviously accepting the image.
So some of the biggest things is definitely getting your community. Starting out, obviously, if you don't have a support system in hand, it's going to be harder. It really is. I had a support system, so I was able to build pretty quickly. A lot of my friends and even my artist is a really well-known VTuber. And with their help, I was able to get through that beginning portion. But it's still really, really difficult. The hardest thing is to get your community together. But once you have it, it's awesome. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. Has there ever been a moment where chat just kind of completely derails your plans is the best or worst way?
So I had a 7 Days to Die stream where I actually had a 7 Days to Die extension where people can summon in things to hurt me. And they almost succeeded. they did.
Really? Okay.
So there was a stream day where they threw me completely off the loop. I was getting ready for a blood moon, and they decided to throw everything and anything at me and almost expended all of my healing resources.
So you were talking about originally you had a PNG avatar. Can we see kind of what that looks like?
Yeah, of course. So let me pull that up here real quick. So I don't have access to the actual files anymore, but I could use this kind of as a kind of to show you.
Kind of a
this
premise.
So this was the original PNG. This was the very first model I had. As you can see, the movement's kind of a little bouncy. They move, their eyes move, they blink. When I talk, the mouth opens. This was a model that I was using when I was kind of trying to streamline myself as a survivalist VTuber, primarily focusing on my survival games. So I was playing at this time a lot of Minecraft, hardcore Minecraft. I was playing a lot of Valheim, The Forest, 7 Days, all that stuff. All the survival genre stuff. I love the model. It is by far to this day still my favorite. Don't get me wrong, I love being the little ball of chaos. But this is just I loved it. It was by far one of my favorite things. I had a background. I had a name for the community I was building. It was great. A lot of work went into this model, and I still to this day love this model.
So did you make this, or did you pay somebody to make it for you?
So I did pay somebody. I do not make any of my models, unfortunately. I'm not that artistic. I actually do have somebody who built both of my models, and then I also have somebody who even built my background for the model, the PNG model. Actually,
this is not how I die.
I only have 2 artists. So
2 artists. Okay, well, hey, that's actually pretty good. Because, you've got people like Iron Mouse and all those guys. I mean, they have 30, 40 people working on just one thing with the background. And my God, I can't even imagine how expensive that is. Okay, so you're talking about you play a lot of survival games and stuff like that. But what kind of games actually bring out the best version of you on stream?
Ooh, that's a good question. Really, the ones that I can interact with my community is the best ones, I think. Because you got to think, I don't know what my community is going to do. And that embraces the chaotic nature that I want to bring to my community. So, I had mentioned it before, the 7 Days to Die extension, I think is by far one of my favorite things I've ever done with my community. because I can sit there and let them try to basically deter me from beating points of interest, or even just trying to survive the blood moon. They could stop me at any turn.
Okay. What games make it fun to stream for you versus just playing by yourself? Is it more of like those kind of interactive games, or do you go through like, single player games like that, or, what pops that out for you?
So don't get me wrong. I love playing games by myself. And a lot of the time you will see me play games by myself, and I will sit there in a voice call with my friends. And then I'll also read my community chat and just kind of spitball from there, to keep talking to everybody. It's just, I'm not 100% sure, really.
Okay. I mean, that's totally fair, but here's a good one that I think everybody should be asked too, because as streamers, you gain a lot of like confidence and all those kind of things. But what game has humbled you on like just the hardest live on a stream?
That's also a good question.
Because you did talk about like you might be doing something and your, community might be able to add some flavor to it to screw you over.
Yeah. Actually, So most recently, there is a game that did humble me a little bit because it was brand new. I wasn't sure how anything was working. It was called Everwind, and I actually have a clip of it. I was doing some of the stuff that I would normally do. It's kind of like a Minecraft esque style game.
Okay.
And there's this point in it where you could activate this mechanism to kind of fly yourself into the air. And I thought it was to get to the top of the tower that I was trying to get to the top to. So I, do what I need to do. I find what I need to find. I activate it. And it launches me so far in the air that I come down and I die.
No. Okay.
And
That's
it was
fair.
funny. It was funny because I didn't know what was going to happen. And at that point, I had died. I had died that whole game. So I was a little cocky, not gonna lie. I was cloud 9.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
So that brought me back down to earth.
Yep. As many games like that will especially do to it. I know every time I get like super hyped because I completed just back in the day when I used to do some streaming stuff like Titanfall 2. I recommend myself as like one of the best like parkour people in the world, but missed a jump one time and got completely blown to smithereens during a jump, and we ended up losing the game. So I totally get that for sure.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you this. What is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about VTubers?
So it really just depends. A lot of people believe that VTubers are just, they don't want to show their face because they're, scared they're going to get mocked and stuff like that. Or that they're just not like quote unquote good looking. I put that in quotations, like you guys could see that.
Yeah.
But like that is honestly a common misconception for VTubers, because like it's not just some of the VTubers will probably say like some of it has to do with how I look or how I talk, stuff like that. But in all honesty, a lot of VTubers and stuff just don't want to be known to the public. They would rather hide behind a model, so that way they don't get all the if they do become popular, like for example Iron Mouse level of popularity, they don't want that IRL. They would rather still stay behind the screen and be a normal person. And I think that's a common misconception.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. Now, how do you feel, this could be a ethic question that maybe some people don't want to answer or not. How do you feel about some of these people that are able to do like the AI VTuber stuff?
So me personally, because I do have artists as friends, I hate AI, just AI art in general. Now, needless to say, there are, in my opinion, acceptable uses for it. Like, for example, if you were using it as a placeholder and you don't plan on keeping the model that you have AI generated yourself, because obviously you don't have the money at the moment.
Right.
As long as you plan on replacing it, I have nothing against it. One of my friends is doing it. She is starting us off as an AI generated model that she also edited in Photoshop. So it's not pure AI. There are some edited aspects of it, but she does plan on changing it. And I'm okay with stuff like that. It's when you say that it's your, but another thing that I also don't like about it, don't claim it as your own if you use an AI, if you're using AI generated, be honest.
Right.
Say that you got it AI generated.
Yes, which I've had conversations about like AI just in general. As somebody that is accredited by the state college that I'm at, ethics is a huge controversy with using AI. I'm with you at the same thing. So I believe that it's okay as like a placeholder for getting started on doing something. But the further you get into it, I think it does make things a little bit more difficult because you don't own it. So you can't really claim it as like, I don't want to say like a profitable thing, but as somebody that needs to, give people trust. I think that is another misconception I think that comes with VTubing too, right? Because there are those people that do AI versus real people doing artwork and things like that. So I commend you for having actual artists make your product.
It was rough starting. Don't get me wrong. As somebody who is also, not financially stable, it is difficult. Sure. It is.
Sure.
And I honestly am not gonna lie, I have looked at possibly doing my own stuff through the AI generated system. But at the same time, I'm like, I really don't want to have to go down that route because I don't want to be that misconcepted individual who has now an AI generated model.
Yeah, because you can clearly tell a difference between the two. And then, how do you branch off if you were to choose that to start with? How do you branch off? Because then somebody else is not going to draw the exact same quote unquote perfect version of the VTuber that you just did, right? Well, you won't be you.
Yeah, and that's understandable. That's kind of another reason why I like when I talk to people that want to start VTubing and they mention the AI stuff, I'm like, listen, I know that you don't have a lot of money right now, but I can promise you're going to hate it if you go from an AI model to something that's generated by somebody else because the perfection's gone.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I think definitely in a world where we need a little bit more trust in people and things like that, that is something to absolutely consider and talk to people about.
Yeah,
but that kind of branches off to my next question, though. What part of streaming is the least glamorous, but takes the most effort?
You want the honest truth? Scheduling.
Yeah. Yes, trust me, I feel that.
Yeah, it's so the hardest part, at least in my opinion, for like the last few years that I've been streaming on and off, is just getting to a schedule and sticking to that schedule. Because sometimes you get the burnout, and that has happened to me more than once. Sometimes you just wake up one morning and you're like, I got to stream today. I really don't want to.
Yep, that's fair.
And so, that's fair. And I honestly believe that is the hardest part, is just a schedule, because believe it or not, people like scheduling. They want to know what time their favorite streamer or their comfort streamer is going to go live.
Right, because you are an entertainer at the end of the day, and it does slightly become a job, which I think is kind of a common misconception I think a lot of people miss too. It's the same thing with YouTube. You have to be on a schedule to be noticed by algorithms. Your community expects to view you at a certain time. It's just like when we were kids watching TV, right? Saturday morning cartoons was from like 9 to 12 or whatever. It's the same thing for today's digital entertainment. There is a schedule, and people do kind of expect that because you're offering them something that is valuable in their own time, right?
Yes.
So that's something to kind of also think about too. But you kind of mentioned it too, but like, was there ever a point where you just wanted to stop?
So there's been a couple times. Anybody who has worked with the OBS studio knows that if you don't have drivers updated, OBS just doesn't want to work. And sometimes updating your drivers kills OBS.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I have had multiple times where technology just doesn't want to work. And at that point, I crash out and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to quit. There's no point in doing this. I take a couple days to calm down and I come back because I want to continue to do this. It's just that sometimes technology doesn't want me to continue. It feels like technology doesn't want me to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what keeps you motivated to keep showing up then?
My community. It's seeing how people react to me. Like, I'm active on my Twitter. Like, I am active there. I try to post what's going on in my life, what I'm going to be doing, what am I going to be doing next. And then I scroll and I interact with people, and seeing the reactions of my community and seeing like how excited they get when I do go live And also, of course, support from my friends, because my friends are always telling me, hey, when you're going to stream, we want to be there to support you. And I think it's literally the support. That's what keeps me coming back and making new friends and actually engaging with the community, I think is what brings me back every single time.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Do you have any kind of like interactive stuff that people can do actually on your stream, like when you are live? So, you know, obviously there's like the, the points, and you can get like emojis or like sound bites that go off in those things.
So I actually do have emotes that are actually available. Some of them are available to just following me, and then some of them are available if you do subscribe. Those are the animated ones. I actually had those handcrafted by one of my artist friends. I actually do have a redeem that does have a story. It's a very cringe story, but it's a story where you could turn me into a cat.
Okay.
And I can actually show that if you would like to see it.
I do want to see that, and I want to know the story behind that.
So this is the cat form. This is, please bear with me when you hear the name. This was what my community did. This is not the name I would have chosen for this. This is the Uwu Kitten Sparkle Diamond toggle. The
that
story.
Is a name.
There's
a
story, I promise. It's
okay.
funny. So this was during one of my Minecraft streams. Let me go ahead and toggle that off there. Or actually, you know what? I'll keep it on while I'm telling the story. I was doing a Minecraft stream, and it was a hardcore Minecraft stream, and I was trying to find some diamonds. And I had some friends in the chat that were like, oh, we heard diamond. Is that going to be your new cat girl name? Are you going to become a cat girl streamer now? And then it just kept going on. And then eventually, I don't know where the other names came from. I think it was like a topic of like, at one point I was talking about something sparkly, and then just a bunch of other stuff. And then it was just like, okay, we figured you out. You're going to have a new cat girl model, and her name is going to be Uwu Kitten Sparkle Diamond. That's settled. You're doing it.
Okay.
I laughed so hard at it that I was like, you know what? Give me like a couple weeks. Let me see what I can do. And thus the cat toggle was born.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Like I said, it's kind of cringe.
Especially in a world we live in right now, cringe is probably one of the best things we could get, right?
It created a memory, and a memory that I'm actually very fond of. Like it was one of the very few interactions I had with the community where it turned into something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always important, right? So talk to me, what does success look like for you right now?
Success to me right now is not about the monetary value. To me, every new follower, every new viewer, even if they don't follow, all the lurkers, the community that I'm building, that's what it is to me right now. That's my money. I don't care about the subscribing. Like, don't get me wrong. I appreciate it if I do get subscribers.
Sure.
But to me, it's the community. That is what I cherish. That is what I look forward to.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's super important right now, especially in such a divided world that we live in, right? I think that bringing people together to have a good laugh, be a little chaotic, which I do want to swing back to the chaotic thing here in a second, but I think it is important that, you know, we do bring each other together and we do have a good laugh. We share a good smile, even if it is just on the internet. You know, I think that it's heavily appreciated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going back to the chaotic itself, I wanted to cycle back to the original PNG character. Are they connected or are they completely two different characters?
So the original lore that I was going to go with for that is that one day, while just doing my own thing with the survivalist model, he started to show signs of being corrupted. So the original plan was to eventually get the model to have like purple, like the skin was going to start turning purple, the eyes were going to start turning purple, stuff like that. And then eventually I was going to have it almost seem like the shell was breaking, and then this model was going to exist. I unfortunately didn't get the monetary the monetary ways to do that. Just one day I decided to scrap the first model and go with this one, but they are technically connected because they are still technically new.
Okay, I see. And then, so then you'll have a different version, or you're kind of trying to go towards that like style again?
So eventually the model will probably take on some form of the original PNG, mainly the beard and stuff like that. But I think the style of it is going to be significantly different.
Okay, well, that's cool. Well, that kind of breaks into the next question of that, though. What are you trying to build long-term with Shade Alucard?
Long-term, I would like to be known as the avatar of chaos, the chaotic VTuber that everybody likes to go to for the chaos and for, you know, all just fun times. That is kind of what the goal is. I want to bring a whole bunch of people together that you normally would not see together just for fun, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's one thing that you want people to remember after they leave one of your streams?
That they're always welcome. That no matter what happens, no matter what goes on in their life, no matter what happens to them, what happens to the community, et cetera, that they are always going to be welcomed by me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you did talk about you're kind of on social media, trying to do a lot of marketing for yourself. What are all your, avenues for your social media?
So I do have a Twitter or X underneath the same name. I'm on and off of that frequently / not so frequently. It just depends on like what's going on, if I'm able to tell people what's going on, stuff like that. And then I also do have a TikTok where I do post my clips from some of the videos that I do. That is pretty much all it is clips. Eventually I do plan on taking the TikTok to a direction where I can, make little funny memes and stuff like that. But right now, as it stands, it's just a clip farm area. That's really all it is.
Absolutely. Do you have a YouTube at all? Like YouTube channel?
Not publicly.
Okay.
I am working on something. There are a couple projects I am working on the side to kind of expand out a little bit more. I do plan on bringing my VODs to YouTube, so that way people can have another spot to watch some of my older VODs, because Twitch doesn't keep them all for very long. I think they keep them for like maybe 1 or 2 months before they delete them.
Yeah, which that's kind of what I ran into when I was doing Twitch for a little bit. Like the archive thing is fine, right? But it doesn't hold on to it forever. So that's kind of why I started moving everything towards YouTube for that.
Yeah, so I'll probably have like a VOD archive that people will have access to for that. And then I am building a YouTube. I'm not going to be streaming to YouTube because obviously I don't want any problems with like Twitch and YouTube and all that fun stuff.
Right, yeah.
But I do plan on trying to make some extra content on the side for a YouTube. I'm not sure when that will be, because I do want to start streaming some of the PlayStation games that I have, but I don't have a capture card and I'm poor.
Okay, fair enough. That's completely fair. So we're getting kind of close on time. I've got a few more just kind of quick questions like that, but I feel that these are good ones to build off more of the community for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody was to start VTubing right now, but they kind of feel like they're a little too late, what would you tell them?
It's never too late to start VTubing. You will bring something to the table that no other VTuber has brought. Like, do not doubt yourself just because there are so many other popular VTubers. Build your brand, build what you want to do, and I can almost guarantee you will find people that will be more than happy to follow you and help you build your community.
Yeah, because like, for instance, your kind of persona is chaos, right? That is very much your niche, and it allows you to branch out and to do other things that allows to more chaos, which then brings everybody back in to create more chaos, right?
Exactly.
So there is a channel basically for everybody is what I'm gathering from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. Here's a deep question for you. What would you say to the version of yourself that is now but was before you started streaming?
Don't give up. You don't need the money. You do not need money to keep going, and make sure you make it about your community. Do not do it for monetary value.
Don't like circle it around just by yourself, right?
Correct.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Well, hey, man, I definitely appreciate you stopping over here. VTubing is hard. I don't know how you guys do it. I can't do it. I think it's phenomenal seeing you guys, reach out and create these communities and fun environments on Twitch and YouTube, on TikTok, and all those kind of things too. It's important. Like I mentioned before, it's very important that we all kind of bring each other together. And I have to say, like, I applaud you. I think it's awesome. So thank you very much for actually doing what you do.
And thank you for letting me talk to everybody and be on your podcast, so that way I can, hopefully maybe inspire some other people as well.
Well, and I think you definitely will today. And, I know that we kind of talked behind the scenes about potentially bringing some other VTubers on there and have a larger conversation. And, this is to our personal community, what do you think of VTubing? How did you get into it, or did you want to get into it? And would you be interested in seeing another episode with a few different VTubers all together, kind of discussing their stories and building those communities with you as well? Please leave a comment down below. And make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more notifications on this fun podcast. And again, thank you, Shade, for coming on the channel. And I hope that you continue to enjoy the different categories of breakdowns that we do. We talk to creators, we talk about game reviews. Eventually we will get to a little bit more actual streaming ourselves. And we do deep dives into different parts of the evolution of nerdism. With channels like us, I hope that you do appreciate that and you can actually continue to join us. But until next time, make sure to put that coin in the slot, hit that power button, roll for initiative, and we'll see you next time.